Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for McDonald's Cup Series racing, and it is race number 17 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. It is the Pop-Tarts 400. After today, there will be 6 races remaining in the McDonald's Cup Series season, and that window to try to get yourself in the best possible position for the championship race at Homestead, Miami is getting ever so slight. It's just closing a little bit more as time goes on, as this season just winds down. So these drivers are running out of time before they can actually get themselves into prime position for the championship once we get to Miami in November. And we're almost done with August. After that, we've got September races to go. I think after this race, we'd be going over to our first road course, first of 2 road courses of the season at Sonoma in September, I want to say, to kick off that month. I'm actually looking at the schedule right now as we currently speak. And yes, Sonoma Raceway, we go there on September 20th. So these drivers are going to have a pretty lengthy break, but I think that's going to be the last one of the last 3-week break of the season before these drivers get ready for their stretch. And I might say once we get to Sonoma, it's going to be a stretch till we get to the championship race at Homestead, Miami in November. And before we ever get to that point, we got to get past Chicagoland Speedway. And just in case, if you guys missed it, just 2 weeks ago, we were at the Michigan International Speedway that saw only 2 cautions, 2 major wrecks, especially coming out of turn number 2. But all in all, pretty good, clean, and somewhat chaotic racing that saw Chad Gronkowski manage to only lead 1 lap, the most important lap, to take the checkered flag and get his 2nd win of the season, just barely edging out Sebastian Palmer at the line to win his 2nd race of the season at the Michigan International Speedway. Let's go ahead and take a look at your point standings coming into this event. Of course, you see John Andrews still barely holding on to the points lead by 4 points over Edson Hernandez, who has 386 in his pocket, 352 again. That's Chad Gronkowski. The reason why he's up there is because there is a good portion of drivers like Tyler Belladonna or Will Parrish or even Val Mosco. BB Haynes was another one of those drivers that was inside of the top 10 in the point standings until today, that wound up having some very not so good events, not so good races for them, that saw them take some pretty decent hits in the point standings. And also, as far as BB Haynes' case, he fell outside of the top 10 for the first time this season as a result. But as far as Chad Gronkowski goes, this is the best that he's ever performed thus far at this juncture of the season. Didn't start off the year the way that he wanted it to, but ever since getting a win at Talladega, that momentum has been ever so building. And here he is, 3rd in points, 352 in the bank with 2 wins to his name. Then Alex Savatali in the 4th position with 348 to his pocket. And then Tyler Belladonna rounds out the top 5 with 345 points to his name. Then we have Will Parrish, Skylar Taylor, Rogel Dorn with 319, 1 point back from him. That is Val Mosco with 318. And Casey Wells completes the top 10 with 309 points in her pocket. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of your point standings right there on your screen. See where everybody else stacks up. There you see BB Haynes currently sitting 11th in the standings with 306. Again, falling outside of the top 10 for the first time this season, as far as I'm aware of. There are some drivers, though, that actually did get some pretty good performances. Take Sebastian Palmer, for instance, who ended up finishing 2nd. May not have won 2 weeks ago at Michigan, but finished 2nd place, got some pretty good points, and already found himself in the 30th position. Actually, no. Yeah, 30th position. No, 28th. I'm getting absolutely mixed up. Here, but 20. No, I don't even know. But either way, he's inside of the top 30 in the standings. I'm getting absolutely mixed up here, but you get what I'm saying. But he's had himself a pretty good points day, and that momentum has definitely been building in his favor. And he's definitely got himself out of this hole of being deep in the point standings. Nathan Stapleton, another driver who's actually turning his season around for the most part. He's no longer dead last in the point standings, but just not in a good position at all, especially at this juncture. So if you're Nathan Stapleton, I would say you just go into these final 7 races with absolutely nothing to lose. Starting here today at Chicagoland, just race your heart out like you got nothing to lose. You just go out there, race for wins, race for checkered flags, race for good finishes, I should say. But that is your points recap coming into today's event here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Here's a look at your starting lineup for the Pop-Tarts 400. Of course, you see a duo of Fords are on the front row. That is John Andrews and Sammy Cars. They're going to lead us down to the green flag here very shortly, with Bob Floyd, Terry Walker, duo of Chevrolets making up the second row. Then we have BB Hange completing the top 5 alongside Dale Johnson. That is your third row. Tyler Belladonna, DK Wood in row number 4. Edson Hernandez and Jeremiah Simpson complete the top 10. Then we have Stephen Colon, Will Parrish, PJ Vidal, and car number 13 starting in position number 13. Then we have Casey Wells, Travis Crampton, Nia Steidel, Daniel Adams, Skylar Taylor, Josh Lee, Sebastian Palmer, completing the top 20. Then we have Wyatt Walker, Colin Block, Kyler Sustry, Matt Jones, Avon Murray, who's dead last in the point standings, as we had just noticed a little bit ago while we were recapping points. If he definitely wants to finish off the season strong, he's going to have to turn it around here starting today at Chicago. Then we have Michael DeFeo, Ryan Durrani, John Felber, Nathan Stapleton, Alex Salvatale, the top 10. Now remember, Salvatale, he is 4th in the standings, so he's definitely going to have a lot of work cut out for him if he's going to move his way up through the field in 134 laps time. Then we have Alex Rampus, Rogel Dorn, Tatiana Noguera, Mitchell O'Brien, Derek Hamill, Michael Young, Roberto Crown Jr., Matthew Huber, Zachary Fitzwater, Val Moscow completed the top 40, with Chad Gronkowski, who won the previous race just 2 weeks ago, starting 41st here in today's event. Definitely going to see if he's going to be able to put on a show here today. And then Bryce Egan rounding out the field in the caboose, the provisional 42nd position. So glad that you could be here with us here on an amazing and beautiful Saturday afternoon here at the Chicagoland Speedway. 69 degrees. Very nice, if I may say. But definitely a very good day to get some McDonald's Cup Series racing started here at the Chicagoland Speedway. After today, 6 races left until the season finale at Homestead, Miami. And this season, it is just the end of the season is just going to get a little bit more interesting. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. So without further ado, let's go to trackside to get the command to fire these 42 engines.
Drivers, start your engines.
There it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 competitors. And this is definitely going to be a pretty fun race, if I may say. If Michigan was fun, despite a lot of the chaos that we ended up seeing just unraveling before our very eyes, Chicagoland Speedway, for all we know, it could be a lot cleaner, but we're definitely going to see some pretty good action. Turn 4 may possibly be the trouble spot, as we've seen in years past in other NR 2003 series, so that's definitely something that we're going to have to watch out for as the day goes on, as they work their way off of the Brandt back straightaway into turn number 3. We're going to have John Andrews and Sammy Cars, a duo of Fords. Andrews coming into this race as the points leader. Going to lead us down to the green flag. Pace car going to drop to pit road this time. John Andrews, Sammy Cars bring the field down into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in Chicagoland. Very cool, somewhat calm, collected start for the top two. Andrews manages to check out with the race lead. And taking over the second position is the number 10 of Bob Floyd. Hange on the inside trying to fight for that third position on Sammy Cars. Cars is going to retain it at the stripe. John Andrews is going to lead lap number 1. The top two are pretty much single file at this point, getting ready to try to check out. But as we're starting to notice, that outside line, especially down the back straightaway, is definitely prevailing. Maybe all the way around the racetrack, that outside line is really garnering some pretty significant speed. So that's definitely something to look out for as the day goes on. For all we know, even the bottom could eventually gain some grip and gain some momentum and possibly try to give the top side the run for its money. But as of right now, the outside groove is definitely the way to go here in the early goings of this one. We are 4 wide here in the back of the field. Sebastian Palmer getting into the wall pretty significantly. We saw a couple drivers in the background do that just a little bit ago, but Palmer definitely not getting the day off to the start that he wants. As of right now, being scored 21st and possibly going to lose a lot more track position. But then again, maybe not. He's definitely regathered himself and is going to tuck in behind the 99 of Wyatt Walker, who currently sits in the 20th position. But out of turn number 4, John Andrews continues to lead the way. He already picked up that 1 bonus point for leading a lap, and thus far he's led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. And right now it is an 8-car breakaway until you get back over here to the 8th position, being contested by Jeremiah Simpson on the outside. On the inside, actually, and on the outside is Tyler Belladonna in the number 4, trying to retain that 8th position, and he's going to successfully do just that. 3 wide at the stripe. That's Edison Hernandez in the 31 up top. Will Parrish on the bottom. Casey Wells in the middle. Stephen Colon trying to make it 4 wide once they hit the back straightaway. Parrish is going to block that maneuver. That could have been absolutely catastrophic if they weren't able to pull that off, especially coming out of the 4th corner. Because we've already seen drivers, especially just a few laps ago, just absolutely decimate the right side of their cars with the wall. Off of turn number 4, so as this race has gone on, you know, of course, everybody's sort of settled down. They've gotten themselves into a single file formation. They know that there's a long way to go here in this event, so definitely not worth trying to tear your car up to try to gain as much track position as you possibly can. And this is definitely going to be pretty interesting to see how long we're going to go under these green flag conditions. And pit stops definitely are also going to be pretty interesting as well, especially with the strategy, so definitely something to look out for. See, battle is on here between the 22 and the 34. That's Travis Crampton on the bottom. Josh Lee up top in the 34. This fight would be for the 17th position. Looks like Lee just won that battle with an amazing run on the outside groove. And everybody's starting to move up the track just a little bit. Looks like Stephen Colon tried to make a move on the number 2 of Will Parrish. That battle would be for 13th currently, but as you see, all the way back, the top 17 are all single file, at least temporarily, until you get back over to where Daniel Adams and Crampton are. They are still fighting for position, almost 3 abreast once they on the back straightaway heading into turn number 3. That was Colin Block in the middle, Jones up top, 3 wide there with Savatali absolutely threading the needle between Michael Young and Tatiana Noguera all the way back here. Remember, he started 30th in this race. and he's currently still 30th right now. So hasn't really gained or lost any track position whatsoever, but he's definitely going to have a lot of work cut out for him as this race goes on. So he's definitely going to have to hope and pray that the pit strategy plays into his favor once that time comes around. So 10 laps complete. John Andrews has led every single lap thus far, and he has not been contested for that top position as of right now. Started on the pole, and again, has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. He's starting to check out from Bob Floyd, just about a third of a second, trying to go for his third win of the season. To my knowledge, it has never been done before in the McDonald's Cup Series in its 9-year history as far as full seasons are concerned, which this is really going to be the first official full season if we're actually able to complete this. But as of right now, Andrews, if he's up front by the end of this, he could actually make some history. There's a few other drivers that could make history as well. For example, Gronkowski and Belladonna also both have 2 wins. Gronkowski recently throwing his name into that hat after winning at Michigan just 2 weeks ago. So it's very possible that we could see our first 3-time winner this season. John Andrews in the early going is making that look very, very possible. So Andrews is definitely somebody that we could look out for once the checkered flag waves. Heading back into turn number 1, it looks like Sammy Cars is going to try to use that outside line to his advantage to try to take away that second position from Bob Floyd. He didn't have a good enough run that time through 1 and 2, but definitely may try here for 3 and 4. He's pulled up to the back bumper, at least ever so slightly, and he's going to make the move to the inside, hitting into turn 1. But was not able to make that pass at all. You saw it right there. He made a move to the inside, he at least motioned it heading into turn 1, and just wasn't able to get the nose underneath of the left rear quarter panel of the 10 of Bob Floyd. Floyd able to successfully retain the second position without any contest whatsoever. Here we go again. Same song and dance here, this time with Dale Johnson II. Trying to get it to the inside of the 48 of Terry Walker. Walker trying to go for win number 2 on the year. He won at Nashville at the end of last June. Trying to go for win number 2 here at Chicagoland. So far, actually running pretty well in the early going. 17 laps complete, sitting in the 4th position. And as far as BB Haynes goes, remember, I believe this is the first time that he's ever fallen outside of the top 10 ever in the point standings here this season. But I can definitely tell you, if he's able to stay right around this area all day long, he could very well get back inside of the top 10 in the point standings. It's just, as of right now, it's just everybody is minding their own P's and Q's. It's clean and green right now. You see some drivers trying to test the bottom to try to make it work. So there's a lot of experimenting going on right here. For example, Nia Seidel in the 41 trying to get by the 7 of Casey Wells, but that outside groove is definitely proven to be oh so strong, just no matter how high you go. And Seidel right now currently sitting in the 12th position. Comes into this race pretty decently deep in the point standing, so not the type of season that Seidel would have wanted. But I can definitely tell you, for the most part, she's definitely performed very, very solid in a good portion of races. Unfortunately, some of those results that she's gotten haven't really backed up those performances. And it's definitely a very common theme for a lot of drivers, as we're 3 wide for 3rd. That would be Sammy Cars on the 43 up top. definitely going to successfully retain the third position as Johnson and Walker are fighting side by side. Here comes Damian Kyle Wood in the 38 underneath of the 95 of BB Hange. So as the battle for fourth is continuing, the battle for sixth is on between these two, the 38 and the 95. And you definitely have to admit, the top three are definitely loving what they see in their rearview mirrors as they're trying to check out from everybody else. And so far, their mission is somewhat completed. At least for the time being. Everybody settles back down into a single file formation as they race off of turn number 4 back across the stripe. With 22 laps complete, John Andrews, number 17, has led every single lap thus far. But we saw... Oh, wait, caution is out. Yellow is out on the speedway. That's Roberto Crown Jr. in the 51, Zachary Fitzwater in the 9. Both of them very moderately damaged. Caution flag is out on the speedway. Andrews leads him back down. It looks like this happened on the exit of the front stretch heading into turn 1. That was interesting. So we had some pretty good green flag racing to start off the event, but unfortunately caution flies for the first time here on lap number 23. And we're definitely going to see some pretty interesting strategy here on these yellow flag pit stops. Andrews is going to bring him down. This time, Floyd, Cars, Walker, Johnson, along with Hange, Wood, Belladonna, Simpson, and also the 31 of Edson Hernandez. And the rest of the crowd is all coming down pit road. You'd have to believe that a good portion of them, or maybe even all of them, are going to take a 4-tire stop. Some may take strategy and maybe do 2. So here we go. 4 tires so far. Right sides are up, now left sides are up, so it was a 4-tire stop for just about everybody. And Bob Floyd, wait just a minute, Bob Floyd wins the race off of pit road. Andrews, you would have thought with that number 1 pit stall, he would have just been able to fire out, but a little bit of a slow stop there for Andrews, so he loses the race lead to Bob Floyd. He comes out second. Walker comes out third with Johnson fourth. Then Damian Kyle Wood 5th. Then 6th, Sammy Cars. 7th, BB Hange. Casey Wells 8th. Simpson 9th. Belladonna will complete the top 10 coming out of the pits. New race leader, that's Bob Floyd. With that said, now let's go back and look at that first caution flag and see what exactly happened that brought that out between the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. and the number 9 of Casey Wells, or and the number 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, I should say. My apologies. Ooh, that's what happened. So this is looking just on the skybox, coming off of turn number 4, 3-wide situation here in the back. You're going to see Bryce Egan in the number 9. Actually, wait, the 51 of Crown gets into the left rear of the 23, comes off of turn 4 with a full head of steam, gets into the left rear of the 23 of Hubert, sends him into the grass. So Hubert, for a little while, is just mowing the lawn. Then comes back up across the nose, comes back up, hits the bodies, like door slams the 51 into the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater and sandwiches him up against the outside wall. And both of them are pointed at least 90 degrees for, then 180 for the 51, at least a good 60 to 70 degrees for the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, almost 90 degrees. And that's what brought out the caution for the first time here today at the Chicagoland Speedway on lap 23. We're going to go back and we're going to look at this in real time because that was honestly very, very interesting as to how all that transpired. See, you would have thought that you would have seen this right at the beginning of the race with a lot more cars collected, but thank goodness it was only just with 2. However, it's still unfortunate, especially for the 51 and the 9, because both of them were running pretty decently for where they were at. Unfortunately, not where they wanted to be, but they were running and still contesting for positions. I mean, even if it was at the back of the field. So, very, very unfortunate for the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater and the number 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. So as we're going to be heading back into live action here at the Chicagoland Speedway. What's going on, Wolf? How we doing? Happy Saturday. Hope your weekend is off to a really good start, man. If you're just now tuning in, we're on race number 17 of the McDonald's Cup Series here at the Chicagoland Speedway. We got 22 laps under green flag conditions. Caution flew just on lap 23. If you just tuned in around the time that we were reviewing the replay of Zachary Fitzwater's and Roberto Crown Jr.'s crash, you already know exactly what happened. But so far, no retirees here in this field. Everybody's still running on the racetrack. And there are the 3 cars that were basically the culprits of the first caution. The 23 of Hubert, who ended up getting basically left reared into the grass by the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. Hubert ended up mowing the lawn for about at least 2 seconds before trying to blend back up into the racetrack. Door slammed the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. right into the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, sandwiched him up against the wall. And both of their cars ended up going around on the front straightaway, bringing out the first caution. And all 3 of them, especially Fitzy and the 51 of Crown, both of them are still on the racetrack with pretty, I would say at least very minor to moderate damage on their race machines. So we've just now taken 1 to go. We have no lap traffic, so it will be a complete single file restart. Well, we take the green on lap 28 with 27 laps complete when we come around next time by. So just to review, your top 10 taking the restart is the number 10 of Bob Floyd, who just took the lead off of pit road. Running in second is the number 17 of John Andrews, who led the opening 23 laps. Running third, Terry Walker. Then fourth is the 27 of Dale Johnson II. Then running in top 5, completed the top 5, is the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. Then in 6th is the 43 of Sammy Cars. BB Haynes sitting in 7th. Then 8th is the number 7 of Casey Wells. 9th is the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. And completing your top 10, that is the number 4 of Tyler Belladonna. So as the field comes off of turn number 4, pace car going to dip on down to pit road, and Bob Floyd is going to have the field in his hands as they head into the restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air, and we're back underway here in the Pop-Tarts 400 here in Chicago. I'd say a pretty good restart for the top 9, but everybody else behind the 20 of Simpson ended up kind of checking up just a little bit as they're fighting for position. Here comes Nia Steidel on the 41 already right out of the gate, trying to take the 10th position away. And so far, she has it. Meanwhile, up front, race for the lead is on. Here comes John Andrews underneath of the 10 of Bob Floyd. Floyd's going to retain that spot. Heading back into turn number 1. Let's see if he can try to get it again. So far, unsuccessful through 1 and 2. He might try again through 3 and 4. We're just going to have to keep our eyes on this. So far, actually, keeping it in the second position. At least remaining content in the runner-up spot for now. Steidl, refocusing on this fight, ended up taking the 10th position, but just recently had it taken back by the number 4 of Tyler Belladonna, using the outside line to his advantage. He pulls up to the back bumper of the 20 of Simpson. He might take 9th away. We'll just have to wait and see what happens if he's able to work his way to the outside of Simpson, if the 20 leaves an opening for the number 4. A little bit ago, if you had just caught it at the bottom of your screen heading into turn number 1, you would have seen the 48 of Terry Walker absolutely try to wrestle that second spot away from the 17 of John Andrews. It hasn't quite worked out to his benefit, obviously, because the top side in the early going just has an absolute monstrous amount of momentum when we restart these races. But as time goes on, you're going to see a lot of drivers kind of just do exactly what they did in the opening stage. Experiment. Try to see if that bottom line is going to work, at least completely. Because usually what would happen is some drivers would manage to get that bottom going, but unfortunately that corner exit speed just isn't there. The corner entry speed is there, but when it gets to corner exit, it's a whole different story. Heading back into turn number 3. Focusing in on the 7 of Casey Wells. Remember, restarted 8th in this event. Already gained 1 position. Still thus far, actually hanging around the top 10 thus far. A little bit further back, there's BB Hange in the 95, trying to wrestle 10th away from the 31 of Edson Hernandez, heading down the back straightaway this time by. So far, Hange has the advantage. Let's see if the 95 can get clear of the 31. And that is not going to be the case. The corner entry speed was just there for the number 31 of Hernandez, but isn't going to be able to take the 10th position away at the line. BB Hange at that 95 is really starting to make that bottom work. Has him cleared down the back straightaway, and now has him full cleared this time around. So that bottom is really starting to come to life. BB Hange is really starting to make it work. So Hange could definitely be up to something. Now it's in Hernandez going to try it heading into turn 1. But probably isn't going to be able to make it work the same way that the 95 of BB Hange has been able to do it. Bottom of your screen, you just saw the fight between Walker and Johnson. This is for 3rd. And just behind them, Steidl, Cologne, and Skylar Taylor just a lap ago were all 3 wide. That looks like that was for the 12th position. Steidl has successfully retained that. Heading down the back straightaway once again on lap number 36. Coming around to complete lap 37 here in this 134 lapper. Jeremiah Simpson trying to take that 7th spot away from the outside line. And just wasn't able to get it at the stripe. Wells was able to just barely retain it. Take a look here. Actually, we're going to watch from here from the skybox cam. Heading back into turn number 3. You see Tyler Belladonna just get into the mix there. So this is a 3-horse fight for that 7th position as of right now. Simpson's going to get it at the stripe. As you see, the top 6 have all checked out. But looking in at this little battle right here, it looks like that bottom line is actually starting to get a pretty good corner exit heading through 1 and 2. But 3 and 4, that's where it looks like the outside groove is at its strongest there. As you see Jeremiah Simpson just get a good run and manage to pull out ahead of the 4 of Wells. Looks like Belladonna is going to join the 20 of Simpson up top. So let's see if Belladonna is able to get that same momentum heading down the back straightaway into 3. Actually, he's going to stay down to the bottom, stay pretty significantly glued to the bottom. But so far, he's actually looked pretty good here. 3 wide. Over here, that's Wyatt Walker, who is in the middle of a Penske sandwich with Crampton on the bottom. Will Parrish on top in the number 2. But now it looks like Walker, with the advantage coming out of turn number 2, manages to pull away from the 22 of Crampton and Adams in the 55. That would be the fight for the 17th position. It was a fight for 16th for a moment between Parrish, Crampton, and also the 99 of Walker, but that fight has since then subsided. 3 wide over here. Here comes Matt Jones, trying to thread the needle. Unfortunately, just was not able to make the middle line work. And I think in the process, he just wound up losing both positions. He managed to lose what looks like 19th and 20th almost at the same time, simultaneously. So now he falls back to 21st. He's definitely going to try it again. And his car is just not, I wouldn't say it's 100% set up the way he would have wanted. I thought he was going to lose the 21st position to the 98 of Colin Block, but he was able to retain it, thank goodness. But definitely may have to go to work on that number 78 to see if he wants to get it better and possibly have a chance at a good finish. Maybe at best, maybe a top 15. If he's able to go for it, a top 10. Here's the fight for the 13th position. This is between Skylar Taylor and Stephen Colon heading into turn number 3. Colon looks like he's going to have the good corner exit. Still remaining side by side with the number 15 of Taylor. So far, Skylar Taylor is able to retain that spot temporarily. Actually going to be able to clear up on the 24. So that bottom is really starting to come to life, slowly but surely, as more rubber gets put down there. So as more rubber continues to get put down, there is a better and better likelihood that the bottom line is actually going to start working and making some moves. So this is definitely going to be a pretty interesting race once we get down to the nitty-gritty of things. Up front, battle for third is on again between Dale Johnson II in the 27 and Terry Walker in the number 48. This battle has been getting absolutely heated up, especially in the early goings of this event before that first caution came out. Just shortly after that restart, I should really point out, is when this battle really started to heat up. But so far, these two are just remaining side by side, and just, it's almost like, usually I would say they would be trading positions, like they're trading Pokemon cards, but it looks like they're kind of just chilling side by side, almost dead even, trying to show off their Pokemon cards. But looks like Walker's going to be able to be the beneficiary of that fight. He ends up winning it. He'll retain that third position, at least for now, and Johnson's going to slip back just a little bit. Looking back over here, fight for 7th is on again. This time it's between the 4 of Tyler Belladonna and the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. Hernandez trying to take away the 10th position. Once again on the 95 of BB Haynes, trying to make the bottom work. He might have found something, just like of how BB Haynes was probably amongst the first to really figure out how to make that bottom work. And looks like Edson Hernandez's team has definitely been taking some notes, because they're able to hang alongside the 95 at least for an extended period of time. But Haynes is able to retain that 10th position here. Heading back into turn 1. Dead even down the back straightaway right here. Nice Steidl looking on in the 41. Looks like gonna try to make it a 4-horse race for the 10th position. Meanwhile, bottom of your screen, the 4 and the 20 are still fighting it out for that 7th spot. Meanwhile, up front, battle for second is on. Here comes Terry Walker in the 48 underneath of the 17 of Andrews. Wasn't able to get the corner exit speed down, and Walker's going to fall back, and we'll have to try it again heading into turn number 1. He just hasn't quite been able to get that bottom nailed down, at least just as of yet, but so far, Walker's car is actually pretty stout right now. So could very well try it again here just a couple laps time if he's able to run down the 17 of John Andrews. Over here, Simpson's won his fight with the 4 of Tyler Belladonna. He'll successfully retain that 7th position. BB Haynes is going to also successfully retain the 10th position as the battle for 11th is on. Here comes the 41 of Steidl on the 31 of Edson Hernandez as they fight down the front straightaway. Skylar Taylor going to try to make it 3 abreast heading into turn 1. Wasn't quite able to make that happen, but tucks right in behind the 41 of Steidl. Here comes Wyatt Walker trying to make it 3 wide, but it looks like the 2 of Will Parrish has kind of backed off from the 13 of PJ Vidal to tuck in behind him. And Walker's going to do the exact same thing. Still riding in that 17th position. Meanwhile, here comes Skylar Taylor underneath of the 41 of Steidl. Wasn't able to make that pass work. But thus far, still doing a pretty good job of holding on to that 13th position. But now currently contested by the 24 of Stephen Colon, who currently sits 14th right now. Have another fight going on here. 2 fights going on for position. 15th place, that's between Vidal and also Will Parrish. And then behind them, Josh Lee and Wyatt Walker. Battle for 15th and 17th are on currently. Parrish trying to get that 15th spot away from the 13 of Vidal. And Wyatt Walker trying to retain the 17th spot. He'll successfully do that. He might try to get 2 birds with 1 stone if he's able to make it 3 wide on the 2 and the 13. He'll pull up alongside of PJ Vidal. Josh Lee tried to make it 3 wide. Didn't have a good enough run to execute. You see a lot of drivers are wounding up, taking it absolutely 3 abreast heading into the corner, just doing I'd say a pretty fine job of not getting into the outside wall, because as this run goes on, you're definitely seeing that the grip level is starting to fall off on these tires, and the drivers are really starting to move up the track and really starting to make things happen. Actually, hold on just a second. Pit stops are just now getting underway. On lap number 57, now 58, green flag pit stops are just now starting to take place. Bob Floyd leads them down. Pretty much at least a third, maybe almost half of the field just came down pit road. Both Walkers, father and son. Daniel Adams, Will Parrish, Stephen Colon, Simpson. The race leaders also just came in. And here comes another pack of cars, this time being led by Dale Johnson. So this has to be the rest of the field coming on down to pit road. So once we get restarted, this is actually going to be very, very interesting. Floyd wins the race out of the pits. John Andrews is going to retain the 2nd spot. Look at Jeremiah Simpson trying to pass the 48 of Terry Walker for 3rd on the apron. Meanwhile, I believe there's only 2 cars left that have to come down pit road. That would be, actually, I think Murray and Egan were probably amongst the first to come down and pit, because they actually got around John Andrews and everybody else pretty significantly well without any sort of hindrance whatsoever. So it looks like Andrews and also Egan, they're good. I believe they've already went ahead and they've made their stops. And in the process of all of that, currently, if I'm not mistaken, if they have already made their pit stops, they're currently being scored 2nd and 3rd right now. Which is actually very, very interesting. So, if green flag pit cycles are just now completed, this is what your top 10 would look like as of right now. Race leader with Bob Floyd showing the way in first place. Running second would be the 30 of Avon Murray. Then third, the 5 of Bryce Egan. Then in fourth, John Andrews. Running in fifth would be the number 48 of Terry Walker. Then sixth, Casey Wells, currently going to lose that 6th position now to Jeremiah Simpson. So that would kick the 7 back to the 7th position. Dale Johnson 8th, Tyler Belladonna currently being shown 9th, and Matthew Hubert would round out the top 10. Hubert's starting to show up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. How about another driver that's actually starting to come up through the field, actually played pit stops really, really well, and played it to his favor pretty significantly, and that's the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater. Remember, he was involved in that crash that brought out our first yellow of the day on lap 23, and here he is on lap 63 currently, shown in the 12th position. So pretty good recovery for the number, and then some for the number 9 of Zachary Fitzwater. Let's check in with Roberto Crown Jr. since we're on that topic. Hasn't really shown a whole lot of speed. I mean, since the first caution came out, really, the entire event, but he's gained a pretty good amount of track position, currently being shown 24th, actually 25th now, as he's currently fighting with Mitchell O'Brien. I blanked out on the name for a second, in the number 3. So O'Brien's going to take that position away. It looks like the 51 is starting to lose a lot of ground, but still, regardless of the fact, pretty good job for both of those drivers to actually get the track position and actually start to check, at least have a good enough, at least, hang around pretty decently enough. Matt Jones, Sammy Carr's getting together through 1 and 2. That's going to slow both of them down, and that pulls the 24 and the 38 into the mix. They're 3 wide temporarily. And it looks like Cars is going to tuck in behind the number 24 of Cologne, at least for the time being. Here comes Michael Young underneath of Zachary Fitzwater, going to try to make it look as effortless as possible to get by the 9, excuse me. But Fitzy currently is holding on. Here comes Matt Jones in the 78. Remember, was shown 21st, now shown 14th currently. Almost took another 2 positions away. That would have moved him up to 12th if he were successful. Meanwhile, let's go up towards the front of the field. Battle for second is on. Here comes Bryce Egan underneath of the 30 of Avon Murray. Meanwhile, 4th and 5th place have both caught up to these two. And they're both gonna, I think, they're both gonna try to work their way around. Actually, wait a minute. Here, Andrews might try to thread the needle. But that almost cost him. We are past the halfway point in this race. 67 down, 67 to go. Now it's going to be 66 to go across the stripe as Bob Floyd continues to show the way. Just about a 1.5 seconds ahead of these 4 that are fighting hard for that 2nd position. And especially speaking since... Ooh, trying to thread the needle. Still not quite working out there for John Andrews, as it's going to cost him that 4th position. Here comes Terry Walker down to the inside, heading back through 3 and 4. That outside groove has definitely shown a lot of speed and momentum. So Andrews still able to hang alongside the 48 of Walker for the moment. Three wide over here. Caution out again. Nia Steidl in the 41 and Roberto Crown Jr. once again. This one's going to knock him out. Caution on the speedway. Racing back to the stripe, it's going to be Bob Floyd who will lead him back on lap 70. Egan's going to retain second. John Andrews moves to third. Avon Murray 4th, and Terry Walker completes your top 5 with our second caution flying here at the Chicagoland Speedway on lap number 70. Saw some pretty significant damage to the 41 of Nia Steidl. That's a shame for her, because at the moment, at the last time that we checked up on her, she was running pretty decently in the 12th position before those green flag pit stops came around. And if I'm not mistaken, with those pit stops that took place, it definitely set her back quite a ways. And unfortunately, she, along with Roberto Crown Jr., are going to be teleporting to the garage area and will not be able to see the checkered flag fall here at the Chicagoland Speedway. But then again, we've seen other drivers that have had the same amount of damage persevere, get back out on the track, and try to finish with as many points as they could possibly garner. Lots of damage to the 26 of San Vitale. I would believe that there was probably a stack up that ended up happening. Rogel Dorn with some rear end damage. So that is really going to hurt the 26 of San Vitale, especially since he is currently 3rd in the standings. Well, top 5, I should say. But Bob Floyd, once again, wins the fight off of pit road. Egan's going to come out 2nd. Then 3rd will be the 48 of Terry Walker. Both Hendrick Motorsports teammates. Avon Murray 4th. Dale Johnson 5th. Casey Wells will come out 6th. John Andrews falling back into the 7th. Tyler Belladonna 8th. Matthew Hubert 9th. And Wyatt Walker showing up in the top 10 for the first time today. And with that strategy, this puts Bryce Egan and Avon Murray on the same cycle as everyone else. So they will be able to stay with the top 5, top 10 once we go back to green. Let's go back and see what happened to Roberto Crown Jr. and also Nia Steidl. And see what could potentially knock both drivers out of the race. Oh, this is what ended up happening. So this was almost a 4-wide situation. Remember, Fitzy was not really up to speed with everybody else, but look at this, 4 wide coming off of turn number 4, almost 5 wide from that camera angle. You see Fitzy gets into the wall, and all these drivers are just reacting, and Ryan Durrani, Steidl's own teammate, ends up putting the 41 into the outside wall. She ends up going for a spin, then back into the wall head on. And then in the background, you see Roberto Crown Jr. just nowhere to go for the 51. Just bam. Both noses colliding for both the 51 and the 51 of both Steidl and Crown. You would have thought that with all that extra room on the outside, Roberto Crown Jr. could have just managed to just work his way up to the outside and get by the 41, without any sort of issue. But unfortunately, Crown really didn't react fast enough. And he along with Nia Seidel, are both possibly going to be out of the race here on lap number 70 at the Chicagoland Speedway. Let's go back and look at that in real speed, and then we're going to go on board with both the 51 and the 41. Well, look at this. Everybody just trying to get by the 9, who was pretty decently off the pace. Durrani gets into the 41, and then eventually Roberto Crown Jr. delivers the final hit. Not just to himself, but also Nia Seidel as well, and both drivers, definitely from the looks of that, just very well might be out of it. Now let's go ahead and look at the cockpit view, or really I should say the overhead view of the 41 of Nia Seidel. Just right here is what just very well may take out the 41, and as well as the 51 as well, which, speaking of, we're definitely going to go on board with him as well, Roberto Crown Jr. Right about here. So Crown, at the time that this happened, was riding in the 30th position, or at least currently being scored 30th when that happened. And there's just a bunch of smoke in the way and just impeding the vision of Roberto Crown Jr. Unfortunately, just by the time the smoke cleared, there was the 41 of Seidel. So very, very unfortunate circumstances for both Crown and Seidel. And they're probably going to be out of it. Like I said, but we've seen a lot of other more interesting things take place in these McDonald's Cup Series races. So we're back to live action. Under caution for the second time here today at the Chicagoland Speedway for race number 17 of the McDonald's Cup season for 2024. After this race, they'll be on a 3-week, almost 1-month break before they get back at it for the final stretch of the season at Sonoma Raceway in wine country. That would be our first road course race of the year. We have back-to-back road course races, not just at Sonoma, but also Watkins Glen follows that, and then that would be it for our road courses. But 7 races left in the McDonald's Cup Series season. After today, there will be 6. And just to confirm, as you see on the ticker, both Nia Seidel and also the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr., both out of the race after that lap 70 crash. Rogel Dorn, who won at Kansas earlier in the year, back in May, is still running on the racetrack, currently being shown 1 lap down. So we've just now taken 1 to go. And I do believe Rogel Dorn, I believe, is still sitting in the pits. Yes, he is. Still sitting in the pit area. And just went another lap down. Good chance he's going to go 3 laps down once these drivers take the green flag. So if you're just now tuning in, we're just wrapping up our second caution of the day here at the Chicagoland Speedway with a crash involving the 41 of Nia Seidel and the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. Both cars out of the race. We're getting ready to come back to the green flag to get this race restarted with 60 laps to go. It is Bob Floyd still leading the way. Bryce Egan in second. Then third, the 48 of Terry Walker. Fourth, the third is the 30 of Ava Murray, completing the top 5. That is Dale Johnson the second. Then running in the 6th position, that is the number 7 of Casey Wells. Then 7th is John Andrews. 8th, Tyler Belladonna. 9th, Matthew Hubert. And Wyatt Walker completing the top 10. So first time today that both Walkers are currently shown inside of the top 10 as we get ready to restart. Bob Floyd gonna lead him into the restart zone, and here we go, back underway with 60 to go. top three get a pretty significant jump on that restart. They managed to pull away just slightly on the 30 of Avon Murray. And Terry is going to try to make a move for second on Bryce Egan, heading down to the inside through 3 and 4. As Dale Johnson II tries to make a move on the 30 of Avon Murray. So far, Egan able to retain his position as Avon Murray's going to try to make a move for third on Terry Walker. Unfortunately, not able to make that move successful. Tyler Belladonna now contesting for that 7th position as Matthew Huber going to try to make it 3 abreast. That attempt was not successful. So Andrew's going to successfully retain that 7th position, at least for the time being. Here we go, down to the inside, heading back into 1. Trying to get around Casey Wells, unfortunately not able to make it stick. Here comes Terry Walker once again down to the inside. On Bryce Egan. Was able to get up alongside through 1 and 2, just wasn't able to make it stick through 3 and 4. And here comes Johnson underneath of the 30 of Murray once again. Not able to wrestle that position away, at least for now. 2 fights going on. Casey Wells with a monstrous run on corner exit. Heading off of turn number 2, back into 3. Doing an absolutely amazing job as of right now. That battle for 4th still continuing to heat up as the top 3 continue to check out. Egan, Floyd, Egan, and also Walker. All 3 of those cars are checking out left side of your screen. And the fight is on for the 4th position between Dale Johnson and Avon Murray. John Andrews in as well as the 7 of Casey Wells. Both of those cars are still fighting it out. 3 wide over here in the middle. Just outside, just about around the top 10 area. This would be the battle for 9th. Matthew Hubert easily wins that fight. And pulled right up to the back bumper of Tyler Belladonna's machine. Looks like John Andrews is going to get that 6th position away from Casey Wells, at least for the time being. And Wells, let's see what happens coming off of turn number 2. Back straightaway, still side by side, dead even for just a split second there. Wells continuing to edge ahead back into turn number 3 and 4. And just very well might get the corner exit that she needs. Here comes Belladonna to try to make it 3 abreast. Not quite successful there. Gonna try to get to the inside, heading back into turn number 1. And thus far, he's able to make it work. And I do believe Vogel Dorn, yes, Dorn is back out on track. And right now, he's actually gotten one of his laps back. So, Vogel Dorn, as of right now, still 1 lap down. I thought he was 2 laps down, but just recently got his lap back, so he's 1 lap down. Interestingly enough, that's actually kind of impressive. So Jeremiah Simpson actually pops his way back inside of the top 10. Meanwhile, the battle for 10th is on between Matthew Hubert and Wyatt Walker. Everybody else behind them still fighting it out for position. As you see Sammy Cars and also Stephen Cologne, 43 and 24 fighting it out. Here comes Val Moscow in the 88, trying to rebound after a terrible, terrible run at Michigan just 2 weeks ago. Trying to knock on the door of the top 10, currently being shown in the 15th position. Got to pass a few more cars if he ever wants to shot. And trying to get a top 10 run going. 84 laps complete. 50 laps of racing left here at the Chicagoland Speedway. So far, only 2 yellow flags that have slowed this race down by quite a bit. But other than that, the racing is not disappointed. 3 abreast, heading down the front straightaway. Stephen Cologne's gonna just barely edge him out across the stripe, heading back into turn number 1. Still 3 wide. Almost 4 wide, but look at the run that Stephen Cologne just got. He is out of there, fired off like a cannon. That was impressive. That was a really impressive run by the 24 of Stephen Cologne. That actually, I wasn't sure if that actually was going to work, if they were going to commit to the 4 wide, but thank goodness that didn't happen. And Cologne just absolutely launched it off of turn number 2 with a full head of steam. And it worked. It worked out to his benefit. Battle for 7th is on. Between Andrews and also Tyler Belladonna. Both of those drivers, both of these two drivers looking for their 3rd win on the season. And so far, I'd have to say, ever since he started on the pole, I think Andrews has the slightly better chance than Tyler Belladonna does if he finds himself back in the lead once we get to the nitty-gritty of this race. He might find himself in prime position to take the checker flag, go on to win. I mean, it's very, very possible. So now heading back through 3 and 4 this time around. Floyd continuing to show the way. And probably at this rate, he's already clinched. He probably would have already clinched those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. So definitely, regardless of how this turns out, it's been a really, really, really good points day for Bob Floyd here in this number 10 machine for Stewart-Haas Racing. And if I were to go back and look at the point standings as of right now, he probably would have come into this race at a very low margin. So coming in, he's second to last in the point standings right now. Second to last. This is definitely a career day for the number 10 of Bryce Egan. For the number 10 of Bob Floyd. But speaking of Bryce Egan, this is also a career day for him. Running in the 2nd position. He's doing a very nice job. Got the pit strategy right to where he needed it. Had that caution not come out, he probably would have been the first to pit along with the 30 of Ava Murray, but that caution played into their favor and they're able to race with the leaders, just like of how they're doing right now with, for example, Bryce Egan trying to fend off the challenge from the 30 of Terry Walker for the 2nd position. Coming around through 3 and 4, down the front straightaway this time by. And so far, doing an absolutely amazing job is the number 10 of Bob Floyd, as well as the 5 of Bryce Egan. Even the 30 of Ava Murray is actually doing pretty significantly well. Murray, I do believe, did come into this race dead last in points. Yes, 182 points to his name. Currently dead last in the points. So he is actually doing absolute wonders here in this event at the Chicagoland Speedway for race number 17. It's like I said, for a lot of these drivers, they got to start racing like there's nothing on the line. And so far, Bob Floyd definitely understood the assignment, along with Bryce Egan and even the 30 of Ava Murray. Both of those, all 3 of these drivers definitely understood that assignment very, very, very well. So it looks like a battle for the 14th position is continuing between Stephen Cologne and also the 88 of Val Mosco, another duo of Hendrick Motorsports teammates. Remember, Egan and Walker, a little bit ago, they were shown 2nd and 3rd, still are as of right now. But it looks like Cologne is going to retain that 14th position over Val Mosco for now. We'll have to wait and see what this next round of green flag pit stops is going to hold. And that very well, depending on how this goes, just very well may be the final pit stop under green. Our final green flag pit stops of the day. And no matter, depending on how this race goes, they should be good to go the rest of the way. But you never quite know what could happen. We've seen stranger things happen in these McDonald's Cup Series races. For example, I mean, we could see a fuel mileage race to the checkered flag. So lots of unknowns coming into this portion of the event. So just going to have to wait and see what happens once our final round of green flag pit stops come around. Tyler Belladonna now possibly might be under fire from the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. That would be for the 8th position. But as of right now, everybody's sort of calmed down, trying to run their distinctive lines. So lots of experimenting going on late in the going. Here at the Chicagoland Speedway, battle for the 11th spot might be on between Wyatt Walker and also Michael Young. Heading back through 3 and 4. And we might see another fight here for position. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with this group. Meanwhile, further up front, Terry Walker. I thought he was gonna have a run to stay alongside the 5 of Egan, but just was not able to stay with Bryce Egan. And Egan retains that 2nd spot. As we're now working into the double digits, 99 laps complete. And we're almost down to 30 to go here in the Pop-Tarts 400 at the Chicagoland Speedway. If you're just now tuning in, we just restarted a little bit ago, back on lap 74. And we've remained green ever since then. But we are expecting our final round of green flag pit stops to come up here in just a few laps time. So definitely keep an eye on a batch of cars to come on down pit road here in a few laps. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And by that time, they should be good to go the rest of the way on the set of tires and fuel that they would be running on after those green flag stops. Walker and Egan continuing to fight it out for the 2nd position. All while Bob Floyd is absolutely loving what he sees in his rearview mirror as he starts to check out. Off turn 2, down the back straightaway once again. Heading into 3. And it looks like Egan is once again using the outside groove to his advantage, absolutely retaining that 2nd position. Meanwhile, battle for 7th is continuing, or battle for 6th, I should say, is on once again between Wells and Andrews. Tyler Belladonna kind of just tagging along, kind of just the back marker in this, waiting to see what happens between the 7 and the 17. They work their way through 3 and 4. Here we go. Final round of green flag pit stops is on as Michael Young peels off, goes to pit road. And coming with them is at least 3 other cars. It's BB Hange in the 95, Derek Hamill in the number 47, as well as the 42, Nathan Stapleton, Zachary Fitzwater tagging in as well. All this happening coming up on 30 laps of racing to go here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Bob Floyd surrenders the lead. He comes on down the pits and is going to bring a massive chunk of the field with him. For example, Avon Murray, Casey Wells, Tyler Belladonna, Sammy Carr, Stephen Colon, Val Moscow, Chad Gronkowski, our winner from Michigan 2 weeks ago, Mitchell O'Brien, and the rest of that crowd is on pit road for Tatiana Noguera and Edson Hernandez got together there. And that's going to absolutely foil Noguera's day. That is absolutely unfortunate for the 21 of Tatiana Nogueira, who won at Texas earlier this year. Not going to be able to finish this race from the looks of things on the lead lap. As we also saw John Andrews come on down pit road, bringing his group with him. Also saw Sam Vitale in the number 26, who made his pit stop a couple of laps ago. He's back down and away. So, possibly, if this goes green the rest of the way, we might have ourselves a completely different look on the top 10. The key word is might. We're just going to have to wait and see if Michael Young is going to be the race leader. Because remember, he was amongst the first to come on down pit road. Caution is out! Yellow is out! Crash in turn number 1. It's the 47 of Derek Hamill. Lots of damage to his race machine and trouble in turn 4. That's Kylo Sustry who just went around. So caution on the speedway. This changes the complexion of this race, and our most recent winner has damage. That's Chad Gronkowski in the 36. My, oh my, the plot to this race has just thickened. I wouldn't even imagine these drivers coming on down pit road, especially after they had just made pit stops under the green flag. So lots of cars. Pretty much everybody's going to stay out except for Derek Hamill. Since remember, he does have, as you can see, he's got a ton of damage on his race machine. And he most likely just might be out of it, and he is. Derek Hamill takes his car back behind the wall. Unfortunately, he has smelled what the Rock was cooking. So race leader is going to be the 18 of Michael Young, showing up inside of the conversation for the first time. And I can also confirm BB Hange has been involved in that turn, I believe in the turn 1 crash. And he actually was the culprit for it. So let's go ahead, take a look and see what happened to the 95 of BB Hange. Let's show you what happened. This is heading off into turn number 1. Actually, wait, hold on just a second. I almost forgot. Thank goodness I remembered. So we're going to replay that again. I forgot to actually pause the race. So that way it doesn't just continue on and we resume under green. Back to live. We go back to live action under green flag conditions. So thank goodness I caught that. So this is heading down the front straightaway. BB Hange and also Derek Hamill kind of minding their own P's and Q's. They have themselves a really good run on the 7 and the 23. That's Wells and Hubert. And watch what happens. Hange dives low. And Derek Hamill commits to his line, but as you're going to see, it looks like Hamill goes into the corner with a boatload of speed and just right rears the 95 of BB Hange into the wall. And Hamill's going into the corner with so much momentum as well, he just ends up getting caught up in this. So those two cars with lots of damage, especially Derek Hamill, we just saw him pull his car back behind the wall. BB Hange, there's a possibility that I don't think he gets his car refired and going, so he probably is going to be done for the day as well. So another big major hit in the points for BB Hange in the 95 machine. What was a very spectacular run this season is starting to take a pretty big damper late in the going. Hopefully he's able to turn it around here with 6 races to go after today. But now we're going to follow along with Kyler Sustry, see what happened to him in the number 11 machine. I believe he had just gotten off of pit road and after his pit stops, and looks like he was going to try to make it back around to the caution flag. But look at this, the 36 of Chad Gronkowski holding his line, but I think even the 11 just came up a little bit, and both those cars go into the wall hard, especially Kyler Sustry, who goes in head on into the turn 3 barrier. That was a pretty hellacious T-bone crash there for the 36 of Chad Gronkowski and also the 11 of Kyler Sustry. Sustry, again, who I believe just came out of the pits and was coming around to take the caution flag, and that's just super unfortunate there. Let's just rewind this and look at both of these crashes in real time. So again, starting off with the 95 and 47 incident, BB Hange, Derek Hamill. Hange dives low to try to pass the 7. Checks up in the corner, but also Hamill just goes into the corner way too hard. Ends up cleaning both himself and also the 95 of BB Hange out. Then here's Kyler Sustry. Again, just came back out on the track. And just, bam, head on. Almost head on at an angle into the turn 3 barrier for Kyler Sustry. And that sent Chad Gronkowski back to pit road to assess the damage on the number 36. They were actually really quick to make that move. Funny enough, since the wreck happened just outside of pit road, outside of the entry of pit road, so there's a pretty quick trip to the pit area, but very unfortunate for BB Hange, who was just minding his own P's and Q's. He was getting ready to make a pass on the 7 and the 23 for position, and unfortunately, Derek Hamill gets into the back of him, right rears him into the wall, and cleans not just BB Hange out, but also himself, and then also Chad Gronkowski and Kyler Sustry both wiping out in 3 and 4. I would definitely have to imagine, yes, BB Hange out, Derek Hamill is out, Kyler Sustry is also out of the race. So we're going to have a good handful of lapped cars in this whole frame, since there were a few other drivers that were in the pits when the caution flag came out. So a few drivers are going to be at least 1 lap down. Chad Gronkowski's in that mix, along with the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, and even the 1 of Rogel Dorn. Dorn has been a lap down for a while here in this event, ever since our most previous restart, I want to say. But also, Tatiana Noguera has been 2 laps down since the contact that they had on pit road with the 31 of Edson Hernandez. They just came back out on the racetrack, so very unfortunate for our Texas winner from back in April, I want to say. That was all the way back towards at least the 1/3 point of the year, the calendar year. Pretty crazy of how time flies, especially when you're having fun. So as they come around down the front straightaway, they're going to get 1 to go this time by, I want to say. So they'll be restarting with 24 laps to go. See Zachary Fitzwater pull up alongside the 9. Pull up alongside the 18, I should say, of Michael Young. Just to review your top 10 as they come around to restart. It is Michael Young who has the race lead, with Bryce Egan being shown in 2nd, then Avon Murray 3rd, Bob Floyd 4th, Then running in the 5th position is Matthew Hubert. Then 6th is Casey Wells. 7th is the 4 of Tyler Belladonna. Nathan Stapleton showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. He's shown 8th. 9th is the number 48 of Terry Walker. And running in 10th is the 27 of Dale Johnson. So you see there on the inside, we have the 21 of Tatiana Noguera. Also the 36 of Gronkowski, who won at Michigan just 2 weeks ago. Rogel Dorn, our Kansas winner, and also Zachary Fitzwater, who is a little bit more off the pace than what I thought he was going to be. So this restart should be very, very interesting as they come off of turn number 4, back into the restart zone. 24 laps of racing to go. Here in Chicagoland, green is back in the air. And Gronkowski is very, very, very well off the pace. Everybody getting around him like it's absolutely nothing as they hit the back straightaway once again. Back into turn 3, full song, 3 abreast. Rogel Dorn trying to get by Michael Young to get back on the lead lap. He'll successfully do it. And he's going to try to check out like there's no tomorrow. Just get out of Dodge. Hope and pray that another caution comes out so when you can get back on the lead lap. Fitzy did the exact same thing, at least temporarily, but looks like Young is going to get a better run on corner exit around the outside. Still 3 abreast coming out of turn number 4. At least in the back of this field, at least in the back of this pack, with Jeremiah Simpson in the middle, Val Moscow running way up top, and Wyatt Walker on the bottom. But that 3-wide situation has subsided back into a double file formation temporarily. Meanwhile, Young continuing to hold on to that race lead, almost 3 abreast there. Could have caused an accident there as everybody's trying to get by the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater. That could get very chaotic here, especially as they come off of turn number 4, as they're getting ready to do here in just a couple seconds. 20 to go when they cross the line this time by. It is Michael Young who shows the way. They are 4 wide, and there they go. That's Jeremiah Simpson who went around. Jones upside down. This is going to be semi-big. Felber goes around. Savatali gets a big hit. Gronkowski involved again. And this time, it's going to take out both of those cars along with the 88 of Al Moscow. Caution on the speedway. And you gotta think, if you're in Rogel Dorn's position, you have to be absolutely thanking Jesus right now. Because now he's officially back on the tail end of the lead lap. After that. Oh, Felber just absolutely showing why NR 2003 made ARCA brakes famous. Maybe the other way around, but you get what I'm saying. But that was a very, very, just absolutely chaotic crash on the front straightaway with less than 20 to go. Here in the Chicagoland Speedway, just a lot on the line, and especially on top of that, having to deal with getting around slower traffic, and in the process of all that, of trying to get by Zachary Fitzwater, which saw a 4-wide situation. Edson Hernandez, tons of damage on this stack up. This is going to hurt his chances, definitely for sure. If they haven't, they definitely will. Travis Crampton, lots of damage to the back end of his machine. A buckle on the hood for Michael DeFeo. But definitely a lot of pandemonium breaking out here at the tail end of this one. Here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Let's go back and take a look at what in the world happened that caused our 3rd yellow flag of the day here at the Chicagoland Speedway. That got chaotic real quick. I can definitely tell you that for sure. So heading around through turn number 4, focusing on the 88 of Val Moscow. Gets a little bit tight off the corner, walks it up the track 4 wide. Fitzy's going to get into the wall. Right about there. And bounces down into the 88, who then gets into the 20. Stephen Colon somewhat caught up in this, but he's going to get by barely unscathed. Same for the 20 of Simpson. And then gets sent back up into the 78, who then pancakes the outside wall in the front straightaway, gets sent up into the air by the 9 of Fitzy with the rear end of his car. Tatiana Noguera gets collected. So it's 4 cars piled up just up against the wall. Make that 5. Another car involved there with John Felber getting a piece of the 88 of Moscow and then going around right there with also Travis Crampton going around as well. Savatali ends up hitting Val Moscow in the process. We saw that live. And then we see DeFeo getting sent around off the nose of the 31 of Hernandez. So that just lots of chaos unfolding here in the later stages of the Pop-Tarts 400 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Let's go back and show you that in real time, because this was starting to unwind in a hurry. And there's just so much that happens in the process of that. Look at this. You know, that's such a shame for a lot of these other drivers, especially for even Matt Jones, who was running 21st. He actually was putting together a really good run, and unfortunately gets caught up in the wreck. And it's definitely going to hurt his chances of racking up some really good and well-needed points to move his way up through the standings. Very, very unfortunate for the 78 of Matt Jones. Whoops. Not what I meant to do. Hold on one second. So there you see him on pit road. Edson Hernandez is also coming in as well. Lots of damage to his race machine after, I would believe, that was the stack-up effect that happened over in turn 1. Definitely showing that ARCA brakes are still alive and well, especially in NR 2003. Hernandez looks like is going to be able to continue, this time without a hood on his race machine. So definitely from the looks of things, this finish could get pretty chaotic. Moscow, San Vitali, they're going to join Derek Hamill, Chad Gronkowski, BB Hange, Kyler Sustry, Nia Steidel, and the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. in the garage area, as they have smelled what The Rock was cooking. So lots of pandemonium unfolding here in the late stages of the Pop-Tarts 400 in race 17 of the McDonald's Cup Series of 23. After today, there'll be 6 races left on the season. They'll take a 3-week break and head on over to Sonoma Raceway for our first road course trip of the year. That all goes down on the 20th of September. I want to say at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm actually going to look at that right about now as we speak, just to confirm that. September actually September 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be racing in Wine Country for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Again, that goes down on the 21st of September, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Once these drivers get off of their 3-week vacation, almost 1-month vacation, and get back at it on their final stretch of the 2024 season. Because then after today, it's Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and then Homestead in November. So definitely going to be a very chaotic stretch to the finish here in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. And speaking of stretches, we're set to get this race finished up here at Chicago. Your top 10 as they come back around for the restart. It is the number 18 of Michael Young as the leader. Bryce Egan in second. Avon Murray third. Casey Wells fourth. And it's Bob Floyd completing the top 5 with Tyler Belladonna sixth. Matthew Hubert seventh. Terry Walker eighth. Dale Johnson the second, ninth. And completing your top 10 is the number 42 of Nathan Stapleton. The field works their way off a turn number 4. Pace car drops to pit road. Will this race go green the rest of the way? And if so, who's going to win? The Pop-Tarts 400. Here we go. Back to the restart. Michael Young leads them down. Young with a very good restart. But as does but so does the 5, and everybody else is in the top 6. They all got some really good restarts, and Bryce Egan wasting no time trying to wrestle the race lead away as they come off of turn number 4. But Young with the advantage down the front stretch, heading back into turn 1 now. Egan still holding on the inside, trying to make the bottom work. He's edged ahead, at least for the moment, on Young. Back into 3. Can Bryce Egan clear the number 18 down the front straightaway? Still got a little bit to go. And right there, on this shot, he's got him clear. But Young coming back with a good run, not able to capitalize. New race leader, it's Bryce Egan across the stripe on lap 122. Coming to 10 laps to go here shortly. It'll be 12 to go when they cross the stripe. But 10 to go is just but a few laps away. Just 2 laps away. Going really wide through 1 and 2 now as they're 3 wide for the 3rd position. Now 4th as Belladonna rockets around the outside of Murray and also Bob Floyd. Casey Wells trying to go for 2nd on Michael Young. Belladonna rocketing around the outside. He's trying to go for his 3rd win on the year. And so far doing a very nice job of trying to use that outside line to his advantage. Still hanging around with Casey Wells on the outside, edging ahead down the back straightaway. Into turn number 3, Avon Murray pulling himself into the mix. 10 fingers up in the air. 10 laps of racing to go here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Bryce Egan, who has had himself an absolutely abysmal season, trying to turn it all around and drive it like he stole it. Trying to get his first win of his McDonald's Cup Series career and of the season to try to move his way up through the point standings. But he's also got to hold off not just Michael Young, who's been actually a pretty quiet dark horse throughout this entire season thus far, but also one of the very best to strap into one of these bad boys and put the accelerator down to the floor. I messed it up really badly, but you know who I'm talking about, and that's Tyler Belladonna. currently in the 3rd position, still trying to make that outside line work to his advantage to try to rocket his way up to the number 5 of Egan and try to make some sort of move. They've caught up to the 78 of Matt Jones immediately without any ounce of hesitation. Egan drops low, and you see Michael Young getting held up by the 78. That's going to open the door wide open for Belladonna to move up into the 2nd spot. And now, Tyler Belladonna has only 1 spot to go, and that is 1st place, Bryce Egan. But he is out by almost 3/4 of a second. This could get big right here. Bryce Egan trying to turn his season around to finish it off strong. Tyler Belladonna trying to better his chances of possibly taking the points lead, trying to stay in the championship fight. Thus far, I mean, really, when you think about it, thus far he's in it regardless because of how well he's done this season. He comes into this race at least 5th in the point standings, 345 to his name thus far, trying to better that and possibly move up to 2nd, maybe even the points lead if he's able to get this done. But I'd say best bet, he might move up to 2nd in the point standings because our current points leader, John Andrews, is being shown 14th. 5 laps of racing to go. 2/3 of a second now is the difference between the 5 and the 4. And another 4/10 back is Michael Young as well. So this finish is shaping up to be a pretty good one here at the Chicagoland Speedway. 4 laps of racing to go. The gap has shrunk by 4/100ths. So the only thing that right now Bryce Egan is probably, there's 2 things Egan is wanting to see. He's wanting to see the white flag, but more importantly the checkered flag. He also probably is wanting a caution right now, because if a caution comes out at this point of the race, it's over. Egan would just walk away with this race win. But right now, we are still green. He's got 3 more laps to stay out ahead of Tyler Belladonna. Still hunting for his 3rd win of the season. It may not come today, but it definitely may come at Sonoma on the 21st of September. 2 laps to go for Bryce Egan. Under a half a second now between him and Tyler Belladonna. It just very well may be too little too late for the number 4 machine of Belladonna. They work their way down the Branch back straightaway, heading back through turns 3 and 4. They're going to see the white flag fall this time by Bryce Egan, currently leading it with 1 lap to go. Bryce Egan came into this race 32nd in the point standings. As he works his way down the back straightaway one last time, heading into turn number 3, he just very well might find himself in a better spot. Checkered flag is out. As they come off of turn number 4, Bryce Egan has done it. He wins the Pop-Tarts 400 here in Chicago. Belladonna comes home 2nd. Michael Young will finish 3rd. Avon Murray 4th. Terry Walker completes the top 5 with Hubert, Wyatt Walker, Dale Johnson the 2nd, Jeremiah Simpson, and Stephen Colon completing the top 10. A very strong day for Hendrick Motorsports as an entirety. But there is another winner on that team, and his name is Bryce Egan, who started dead last in this race. Remember, I mentioned that towards the beginning of the event. He started dead last. He drove from 42nd at the start of the race, and pit strategy is what put him up front. A caution came out, and it played into his favor, so that way he could stay up front with the leaders and takes the lead at the most opportune time and runs away with it. Congratulations to Bryce Egan on nabbing his first career NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series win. From 11th on down to 28th, here's how it looks. It is Bob Floyd finishing in 11th with Skylar Taylor. Nathan Stapleton, good run for him. John Andrews leaving today. There's a pretty decent chance he might still leave with the points lead, but we're going to have to find out once those point standings come out in the NRLOA Discord. So if you are watching this on YouTube, keep an eye on the NRLOA Discord once this premiere concludes shortly for those point standings to come out. We also have Casey Wells, Josh Lee, focusing in on the rest of your results. Alex Rampus, PJ Vidal, Sammy Cars, Mitchell O'Brien, Will Parrish, Sebastian Palmer, Rogel Dorn, Damian Kyle Wood, Colin Block, Ryan Durrani, Travis Crampton, Michael DeFeo, Edson Hernandez, John Felber, who was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. And then we have our lappers in Matt Jones, Tatiana Noguera, and Daniel Adams. And then our retirees from the race, Zachary Fitzwater, Val Moscow, Alex Savatali, Chad Gronkowski, Derek Hamill, BB Hange, Kyler Sustry, Nia Seidel, and Roberto Crown Jr., who wound up finishing this race dead last. Very unfortunate for drivers like BB Hange, who was trying to get himself back inside of the top 10 in the points and was in pretty prime position to do that, but unfortunately, trouble struck for him, and he's definitely going to be taking another big hit in the points standings. Even for Val Moscow, Moscow even came into this race top 10 in the standings. He's definitely he just may very well fall out. As far as Chad Gronkowski goes, same could be the case for him. So our point standings after today may very well look different. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that Discord once those points come out. But in the meantime, congratulations to Bryce Egan on nabbing his first career McDonald's Cup Series win here at the Chicagoland Speedway. That is going to do it from here, from Joliet, Illinois. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching the Pop-Tarts 400 for NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series action at the Chicagoland Speedway. If you're brand new on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you do not miss a future stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I would most certainly appreciate it. And that pretty much is going to do it for us. We're going to take a good month break for the McDonald's Cup Series. And September 21st, we come back for the rest of our McDonald's Cup Series action from the Sonoma Raceway. The Toyota Safe Mart 350, that all goes down on the 21st of September at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That one's going to be a fun one, and we hope you guys are looking forward to that one. But until then, these drivers get to take a good long break before they get back at it for the final stretch of the McDonald's Cup Series season. Have a great rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and we will see you all on the next one.